everybody, it's the Lawn Gnome, and welcome to your July 2017 Funko Pop update. And before I continue on, I just want to make sure of a couple of things. Are you comfortable? Do you have a snack or a drink or both? Are you in a comfy chair? Good. I'm glad to hear that because we're going to be here for a while because this is going to be a gigantic but very informative and fun Funko Pop update because not only are we continuing with the Summer of Batman in regards to my collection, but it is San Diego Comic-Con time, everybody. Oh yeah, we've got news galore with amazing exclusives, some that I am extremely excited for, and some that I know for a fact that so many of my fellow Funko Pop collectors are just itching to get their hands on, because it's not only going to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive bonanza this year, guys, but one of the few things that Funko did announce is the fact that a lot of the Funko merchandise, minus a couple that they have mentioned, is actually going to be shared with retail stores across the country and hopefully around the world, which means a lot of the stuff that you will see today, while they are going to be part of the San Diego Comic-Con, there's a very good chance that unless they are limited pieces, they are going to be in retail. The only thing that I'm curious about is where are they going to be found, and will we all be able to get what we want to add to our collections? It's going to be a nail-biter, everybody, but today we're just going to bask in the glory of all the stuff that Funko has announced for the con, as well as some new lines and exclusives that are going to be coming out outside of the con in retail stores everywhere, as well as online. But before we get into all this awesome news, let's continue the Summer of Batman with a couple of additional surprises in regards to how my collection has been going. So before the Summer of Batman continues on, these are some pops that I was so itching to talk to you guys about, because some of these have actually been in my collection for a couple of months now, and even though I am a diehard Batman fan, when it comes to the Marvel Universe, I am without a doubt one of the best in the world of X-Men fans, and I have been a fan of theirs since I was a young kid, watching the 1990s cartoon, reading some of the best stories from X-Men in the comic books, as well as seeing all of the X-Men films from Fox. And it was only a matter of time before I actually found some X-Men pops that I wanted to have in my collection. And these are three of the ones that I found so far that I felt needed to be in my collection. Of course, I will go through each and every one of them. It's a nice little battle of good versus evil, as you can see here. And the cool thing about all three of these is that they are all special exclusives. And we're going to start off with probably the most iconic of all X-Men, and that, of course, is the Hot Topic exclusive pop of Logan, also known as Wolverine. And I love Wolverine so much, and he has such an amazing story, and as well as the films, they've done him justice. And I decided that this Logan pop is probably the coolest one of all of them, because even though I would have loved to have had him in the yellow spandex, this just looks so much like Hugh Jackman to me, and he is dressed the way that Hugh Jackman is in most of the X-Men movies, so why not get one that actually encompasses the comic book universe as well as the cinematic universe? The details on this pop are wonderful. I love the gray streaks in Logan's hair. I love the fact that we went with the bone claws as opposed to the adamantium claws, and his tank top, his khaki pants, and even the little X on his belt, as well as the little hairs on his shoulders, they are just so well done, and this is definitely one of the better looking pops that I've seen in terms of all of the X-Men characters, and I just love that this basically is everything that we all know about when it comes to Wolverine. The next pop that I want to show you is one that I was so excited to get my hands on, and it took me a little time to hunt him down because there was so much waiting, so it was just a matter of time for him actually showing up on shelves, and of course he is one of the specialty series of Funko Pops. It is Bobby Drake, also known as Iceman, and this is the comic book Iceman. This is Iceman in full ice form, him forming the little ice bridge, but as I said when I first heard that he was coming out, I reviewed the glam shot. The color is beautiful. This is my favorite shade of blue. It's ice blue. It is translucent. Even the texture on this pop is more of like a waxy candle feel than the usual vinyl. I love the sheen on him, and I love how the Iceman and the body is a different shade and a much more different texture of ice when it comes to the ice bridge. And I love that it's a little ice bridge that he is actually standing on as well. Also love the details around his eyes, and I love that even though he is a translucent looking Pop, you can still see all of the features of the character, like the hair as well as the ears, and if you look very carefully, there even is a belt buckle with an X on it at the bottom of his waist, and that is awesome too. This is definitely one of the coolest looking Pops, and there is no pun intended here, but I love Iceman, and I'm just so glad to have him in my collection. But of course they're facing down a villain, and this of course is probably one of the coolest X-Men villains that I've ever seen in the history of myself reading these comic books.
This is a fucking stripper. Oh, it's the Juggernaut. Shut your dumb ass.
That's right, he is the Juggernaut, and I love the fact that he is actually a little bit taller than the other two X-Men Pops that I've got here, because he's supposed to be. He's a big guy, and the helmet that he wears gives him indestructible powers, and it's a Walgreens exclusive. This guy is so hard to find right now. I was so glad that I got my hands on him the minute that he was released online, and good luck if you're still trying to find him, because he is not easy to get. But of course, I love the color scheme, the bright red with the maroon. I love the fact that he's got his teeth gritting behind his mask. I love his clenched fists, and I love everything about him. Even though he is such a basic looking character, as well as in the comic books, they still make him truly come to life, and that's why I am so glad to have him, and I think they really did a good job with all of these X-Men Pops, and I'm just excited to see what other X-Men are going to be coming very soon. Maybe we'll finally get a Gambit, maybe a Nightcrawler, maybe a Rogue. So many X-Men characters in terms of heroes, as well as villains, like maybe Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister, but we will see what happens. But I know what you guys are all waiting for. Let's talk a little bit of Batman. So the summer of Batman continues, and these were Pops that I was planning to talk to you guys about around this time a long time ago. As a matter of fact, it was in my second Pop video when I actually showed you guys the first of the 4 of the Batman Classic TV series line, the show from 1966, and I was just so excited when I found out that they were finally, because I was being a patient little Pop collector, waiting for some of these brand new villains to show up as well as heroes, and I was all set and ready to finally showcase this whole collection at this point in time, but then we got hit with some horrible news, and we found out that the man, the myth, the legend, Adam West, had passed away, and I feel that this is going to be another fantastic tribute to Adam West, because this is the show that introduced me to Batman. Alongside the Hanna-Barbera Super Friends show, the Adam West Burt Ward television show was the reason why I adore Batman and still do to this day. Love the 1966 film. I even have the animated Bruce Timm DC animated film, The Return of the Caped Crusaders, with Adam West and Burt Ward, and I mean, having Pops like these, it's one of the greatest ways, especially for true fans, to remember this great man, as well as some of the other actors that played some of the heroes and villains, because unfortunately they've passed on as well. But let's get started and take a look at the heroes first. We have to first begin with Batman and his Gotham Knights. Now keep in mind, specifically the Adam West Batman and the Burt Ward Robin are very old compared to some of the newer ones, and Funko has come a long way. But even though these Pops are just so plain, I guess you could say, and I also appreciated the fact that the Yvonne Craig Batgirl also comes in the same pose as the Adam West Batman and the Burt Ward Robin, pretty much to make sure that everything fits well and correctly, but I still love how they just encapsulate the mannerisms of all of these characters, even though they only have their fists by their sides and their faces don't really look like they're filled with that much expression. But when you take a look at the Batman, for example, I love how they have the dual colors of the mask, just like on the show. The ears look like they are separate pieces that are just glued on. The way that the cape looks, as well as the details on the belt buckle as well as the rest of the utility belt and the tiny little bat symbol on him. And I also love the fact that they didn't make him or the others muscular, because they really didn't show off their muscles in their suits. And then of course you have Burt Ward's Robin. I love how the bandana is all the way around the head, as well as his expression, as well as the details on the shirt, as well as the rest of his uniform, including the cape, the gloves, and the boots. And Batgirl is definitely cool, and I love that she sparkles as well. They did a lot of that when it came to the female characters on this show, but again, she's very similar to Batman, and she's a beautiful couple of shades of purple. That's one of the few things I love about her. The color on her is absolutely wonderful, and of course she's got her red hair flowing out. You've also got the bright yellow bat signal on her chest, as well as on her belt, as well as the different shades of purple on her boots and her gloves. I'm kind of surprised that she came with a stand, because she's pretty sturdy. She holds up on her own power very well. I mean, the fact that she came with one, but Carrie Kelly's Robin from my Dark Knight set did not, is just weird to me. But these three do a great job. I also like the fact that she doesn't have the white eyes, and the fact that she's got some skin around her eyes, like it's still going through the mask, just like it was on the show. But we've got to take a look at these villains. Look at how awesome they all are. I mean, I originally had the Julie Newmar Catwoman, and this is not the Lee Merriweather or the Eartha Kitt. As a matter of fact, the distinctness of Julie Newmar is the fact that she had the necklace. And, of course, you've got Cesar Romero's Joker, but we'll take a look at Catwoman first. I mean, of course, she is sparkly. I love her necklace as well, and I love the little gold tips on her claws, as well as the same thing with her mask. It's got the skin on the eyes, so it's not completely stuck to the mask, or white pupils. And, of course, she's got her little cat ears and her brown flowing hair, just like on the show. I also like the little waves on the bottom. And then, of course, we've got Cesar Romero, who is just one of the greatest Batman villains as the Joker. He was one of the greatest actors of all time. And I love the fact that he didn't shave his mustache, and you actually see the little engravings on the top of his mouth as if it does have a mustache, just painted over. Love the bright grin. Love the shade of pinks on his jacket and the gloves, as well as the dark green on his shirt inside, as well as the buttons on the back and the little coattails. And of course, the texture of the stripes going down, because that's exactly what it looks like on the show itself. And I love the color of his hair. It's a very interesting shade of green, and I like that it's a little bit more of like a pale olivish green. But let's take a look at some of these new ones. I'm going to go from my least favorite to my all-time favorite. We're going to start with the Mr. Freeze, who is, this version is the Otto Preminger Freeze, and unfortunately I don't like what happened. It's a little uneven when it comes to that little metal structure around his neck. Don't know why that happened, but, you know, I would have loved to have had the Eli Wallach Mr. Freeze instead, but I love the shade of blue, and I love how he's got those bright eyebrows. I also love the features on the face, especially the eyelids underneath, as well as the crow's feet and the brow, and I love the look of his gun. Like, it looks just like it's right out of the show, as well as the details of the uniform, as well as the laces on his silver boots, and of course on the back of him you've got the rest of the bar, as well as the freeze pack that he's got. It's a very well-detailed pop, but just not my personal favorite in this set. Again, another great detailed one played by Victor Buono. This is King Tut. This was my biggest surprise. I had no anticipation of this character being made, and this is one of the most beautifully detailed pops that I have seen. Not the most dynamic, but just all the colors and the details on the crown, on the inside of his garments, the two different colored staves that he's got, as well as his sandals with the open toes, and on the back of him you've got the bright red cape, and I've also liked the expression that he's got on his face. They definitely give these characters much more of a personality, and I absolutely love that, as well as the little gold beard. But why is this not really one of my personal favorites? Well, I did not anticipate this one, and in regards to the show, I would have wanted maybe an Egghead pop, or a Mad Hatter pop, or a Louis the Lilac pop. There's so many others that they could have done, but I can understand why they chose King Tut as far as a detail and a design perspective, but I hope that there will be more villains in the future. And let's talk about one of the classic villains. We've got Burgess Meredith's Penguin. I mean, I was curious to see how this one was going to come out because this guy is a stubby guy with a big belly, and, you know, you gotta admit, you gotta love his laugh. But they did a very good job with him. I love the details on the tuxedo, especially on the bottom with the little buttons. They did a great job with the coattails, just like they did with Cesar Romero's Joker, but it's very different because it's longer and it's much more flowy. They've also got his umbrella, and they did a great job with the monocle, and my god, the gigantic purple top hat. The one thing I was not too happy about was the fact that they didn't give him his cigar. I mean, I know that smoking is not a good thing in today's world, but he was known for that cigar. I mean, for crying out loud, they even gave him a larger nose than all the other Pops out there, and that's fantastic. I'm glad that they didn't skimp out on that, as well as the eyebrows with his expression. But besides the cigarette, you know, it still looks exactly like Burgess Meredith as the Penguin. And now we're going to talk about my all-time favorite. My all-time favorite Batman villain, my all-time favorite DC villain is the Riddler. I always loved him, and it was the Batman show with the genius of Frank Gorshin that gave me a love for this villain. I hope that he joins the DCEU one day, and I even have a soft spot for the Jim Carrey Riddler in Batman Forever. I mean, I'll enjoy Riddler in all shapes and forms, and they did an amazing job with him. I mean, I love that they got the receding hairline, because that's exactly what Frank Gorshin had. I love the purple bandana going all the way around his face. They wrapped it all around. I love his pose. I love that he's got his two fingers up, like saying, "Riddle me this!" And other than that, it's the details on the green suit that just blew my mind, because this is tough, because not only do you have the big question mark on the front, you've got the little question marks around his sleeves, you've got the little question marks on his boots, you've got the little question marks that go all the way up the seam of the pants. I mean, this is beautiful. I love it so much, and they did such an amazing job with this Riddler Pop, as well as all of these. These are without a doubt my favorites in my collection, alongside a couple of others, but I am truly going to cherish these for years to come, and I'm just hoping that this second wave, which took such a long time, but patience is a virtue, I hope that it's successful, because I just want more of these Batman characters to be released, and I think that it will help older generations introduce the newer, younger generations to one of the most unique and probably the most fun version of the Caped Crusader that we have ever received in history. So as always, we have to begin with the newest addition to the Funko Specialty Series. Once again, if you haven't heard about what these are Funko Pops that are exclusive to comic book store and hobby shops, and eventually they will show up on other retailers. I actually have managed to find a couple of them for very good prices on Amazon.com, but it looks like we are going to be getting another addition to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. It, of course, is that low-down Southern Gator Leatherhead, and I love the way he looks. I love the little lobster guns that he's got on his belt, as well as his evil-looking grin. I guarantee that if you are a fan of Ninja Turtles, I think you're going to want to add this one to your collection. And before we get into all the San Diego Comic-Con stuff, we are going to take a look at all the stuff that will be available in retail. Looks like we are going to be getting a new line of Freddy Funkos, the Funko Zodiac series, and it's starting off obviously with the first month that it is being released, and that of course is Cancer, and it is Freddy in a lobster outfit. And it looks like they're going to be having a series of 12, one for each of the month, for all of the Zodiac signs. So I guess if you're a Freddy Funko fan, this is definitely something you'd want to have in your collection, but also if you are maybe a astrology fan, this might be something that you would appreciate. But these are going to be available on Funko's website. And another interesting thing that is being offered is this brand new thing that Funko has done. They're making an original Pop series outside of Freddy Funko, and it is called the Monsters of Wetmore Forest. Apparently there's a little mythology that they've created, and they look super cute. They are definitely things that I think that people are going to love to own, especially if they like cute, funny, fantastic things. And they've already shown us what the first in the series is going to look like, and it of course is Tumblebee, and the rest rest of them are going to be showing up through Funko very soon. I'm not sure if they're going to be available in retail, but for now I know that you can get them on the Funko website, and you can get your collection started with this little fella right here. There's also going to be a very interesting and unique thing over at Hot Topic. It is the Furry and Fierce Bear, and it is a Hot Topic exclusive because it's supposed to be a Hot Topic mascot of some sort, but you can get the regular one over at Hot Topic as well as the Chase, which is flocked. And we've also had some collector boxes to look at. I'm sure that you have seen the spoilers already. So the addition to the Batman animated series, especially in the Summer of Batman, in the Batman animated series Legion of Collector box is Mr. Freeze. It looks wonderful. They definitely captured all of his mannerisms, and I love the color scheme. And the Star Wars Smuggler's Bounty box is droid themed, and they are giving us an Episode 1 unfinished 3PO. Very happy to know that they're actually going back to the prequel trilogy because listen, the characters are important to the story, and the pops are definitely cool, but I really appreciate the details on this 3PO. All the different color wires, as well as the different colors of metal all over his body, and I think that this is definitely going to be an interesting one in the Star Wars collection. And outside of the collector boxes, we are going to take a look at some exclusives that are being offered very soon. There's going to be a brand new Fabulous Lightning McQueen, which is from Cars 3, obviously. He's going to be a Toys R Us exclusive in which he pays tribute to Doc Hudson, or the Fabulous Hudson Hornet if you are a fan. But the one that I'm really excited about is the Walgreens exclusive. Of course, Star Wars is owned by Disney, which is why Cars and Star Wars are side by side. But Clone Commander Cody is going to be a Walgreens exclusive, and as you can see in his hand, he is holding a little holocron of Darth Sidious, and he is executing Order 66, and I've always been a fan of Commander Cody, so the fact that he's actually coming out, the details look fantastic, and once he is available, I am totally going to get out there and add this one to my collection. Continuing on with Star Wars, Walmart is offering 2 triple packs. We're going to be getting the Ewok set, as well as the Bespin Cloud City set. So a couple of characters that I think some of you old school Star Wars fans are looking forward to finally having. You will officially get them. And for me, it's very interesting because I didn't know some of these names. So shows you what a fan I am. But either way, 2 triple packs from Walmart. And we've got a PX Previews exclusive. This is going to be available at Halloween Comic Fest. It is also going to be available online very soon. It is a see-through translucent blue Emma Frost. So I know that they've already made an Emma Frost, and this is definitely a cool looking one. I always appreciate the flocked as well as the translucent ones, I guess you can call them, but this one is definitely really, really cool to look at, and I'm pretty certain that a lot of people are going to try and get their hands on this. It is once again a PX Previews exclusive, and it will be available online very shortly. And we've also got some new flocked pops. We have a Gemini Collectibles exclusive flocked Snagglepuss, as well as a GameStop flocked Fox in Socks. Flocked is my favorite exclusive, so I'm pretty certain that these are going to be cool to look at. If anything, I'm not going to add these to my collection, but what I really do appreciate is the fact that they are now putting pink flocked stickers on flocked pops, so people know exactly where to get them and what the flocked ones are. So that's pretty awesome. And now we've got some new lines to talk about. I know that Five Nights at Freddy fans are going to be excited for the sister location pops. They are definitely interesting, and I love the ones that have the faces opened up to see the gears inside of the animatronic characters. Once again, not a big fan of the game. I know that so many people love them, and I know that a lot of people love sister location as well, so I'm pretty certain that people are going to want to get their hands on these if they've already been collecting Five Nights at Freddy pops. And we've also got an FYE exclusive of a new Chris Jericho in the WWE line. And speaking of sports, there's also going to be a brand new addition to the NBA line. It is a brand new LeBron James, which is actually #1 in the series, and it is him in a white Cleveland Cavaliers uniform. He's very easy to find right now. I've even seen him on eBay for like about $9 or even $11, so if you don't have this one yet, I think he's pretty obtainable. Not so sure if he's an exclusive or not, but all I know is that he is easy to find right now. And how about this? Let's take a look at the world of music. Metallica is coming to the pop world. We've got all 4 of them, but the only thing that I'm a little upset about is the fact that they didn't go old school, and instead of getting Robert, I think it would have been cool if they got Cliff Burton, because, you know, to have the original lineup of Metallica, I think would have been a much cooler thing. But either way, the fact that Metallica is coming out as a pop series is pretty awesome. I do love the details, especially on the instruments. And we've got another character from the War of the Planet of the Apes. This is Bad Ape. I know for a solid fact that he is voiced by Steve Zahn. I heard that he's actually a very interesting character, very surprising character. Not going to add this to my collection because I personally do not think that the Planet of the Apes is a line that really interests me because they look so plain, but Bad Ape is becoming a pop and he is going to be joining the line. We've also got another anime series which is called One Punch Man. I have no idea what this show is about, but the pops do look very interesting. Please put some comments in the box below if you are a fan of this show, and let me know if you think these pops do in fact look good. Tell me a little bit about the show as well. And I think a lot of people who are Game of Thrones pops collectors are excited for the Battle of the Bastards 2-pack. We've got Jon Snow holding the shield as well as Ramsay Bolton with an arrow, and I also love the fact that there are 3 arrows in the shield just like in the show itself. So the fact that you've got a little showdown between these two in pop form is pretty cool, and I do in fact love the scars all over Jon Snow's face. And I think a lot of people are excited for a Parks and Recreations line. I did show you guys the concept art. It looks like we're also going to have a Hot Topic exclusive, and I finally did get someone to reach out to me and tell me a little bit about this, and I do like the idea of the horse. I didn't even know his name was Lil Sebastian, but the whole episode with the horse I heard is like one of the most popular, and ironically he is the 500th pop in the television line, so way to go, Funko. And just when this song was finally out of my head, oh boy, Funko brings it back. Yes, the Smurfs are becoming a pop line, and it looks like they are based on the Hanna-Barbera cartoon and not the recent movies, which I'm very happy about. It looks like you're going to get some of the most well-known, like Papa Smurf, Brainy Smurf, and of course Smurfette. There's even a 2-pack of Gargamel and his cat Azrael. I have no idea about the Smurf in the space helmet, but the purple Smurf, I know exactly where that is from. I remember the episode of the Gnome Smurfs. And if you remember it too, put your comments in the box below. I think it would be really cool to reminisce about something that we both share and enjoy. South Park, I know I showed you guys the Professor Chaos pop, but now we have the rest of them as part of the Wave 2 of South Park. We're going to be getting Dan and Kyle. We're also going to be getting Terrence and Philip, as well as some chases for Terrence and Philip holding their respective Canadian flags. We're also going to be getting a Best Buy exclusive 2-pack of Stan and Kyle. And of course, you're going to get 2 more exclusives, which are a Goth Stan from Hot Topic and a Cartman with Clive Frog from GameStop. And I think I may have seen heaven when Funko announced that this pop was coming out, and I know so many people that are just so excited to actually own this one, and I guarantee you this was not a happy little accident. We are getting the iconic Bob Ross from the show on PBS Public Television, Joy of Painting. The details look absolutely wonderful, especially the drops of paint. And I know every single one of the colors that are in there, and I am actually going to let you all know that I pre-ordered this one. This is going to be arriving in September, hopefully sooner, but to have this iconic guy who I just love watching videos of to calm me down after a hard day's work, I'm just so excited to actually have a Bob Ross pop. So, no more dawdling around the bush, everybody. It is time to take a look at all the new San Diego Comic-Con exclusives that are coming to us in the coming weeks, and I'm excited to see exactly which of these are going to be available in retail because there are a couple that I am very interested in getting. The first one that I'm going to feature is a new addition to the original Funko concepts. It is Psycho Shriner. He will definitely go alongside all those other ones like T-Bone as well as Freddy Funko, and he will be available at the Funko booth. Of course, we're going to be getting Wave 3 of the Conan OBrien line. Conan shows up and does his show at Comic-Con every single year now, and he is so excited when he finds out that these pops are coming out. They've already captured so many iconic movies and television shows, and this year is no different. Not only are you going to be able to get a mono Conan, which is a Conan OBrien in black and white, but you will be able to get Conan as a Spider-Man, a Jedi, the Flash, and I think the one that's going to be very popular amongst most is the White Walker Conan. And also, alongside San Diego Comic-Con, Funko is putting up what's called a PopUp Shop. It is going to be a limited store that is going to be near the location of the con, and they'll be featuring iconic characters from various things that Funko just adores. And it's going to be really frustrating for people who really want to collect them because they are going to be so rare, because a lot of these are extremely limited pieces. We've got a whole new bunch of Looney Tunes pops, including 3 different colors of Marvin the Martian from Duck Dodgers, a Super Daffy Duck, I remember that from the show, as well as a 2-pack of Mr. Hyde and Bugs Bunny, which is one of my all-time favorite Bugs Bunny cartoons. But we also have another interesting character that not that many people know, and that is Pete Puma. Pete Puma, I know. I love the cartoon that he was featured in. He was only featured in one cartoon with Bugs Bunny, and he has one of the most memorable moments in all of Looney Tunes. I'm wondering if you remember this.
How many lumps do you want?
Oh, 3 or 4.
And along with Looney Tunes, we've got Brian Mariotti's favorite, and that, of course, is Hanna-Barbera. We are going to be getting 3 characters from Wacky Races. We're going to be getting 3 different colored versions of Flocked Scooby-Doo, but we're also going to be getting a 3-pack of Rosie the Robot. Finally, the Jetsons are going to become Pops. This is a good place to start, but my main question is, are more Jetsons Pops going to be made? Because I would love to get some Jetsons Pops, especially George Jetson and even Astro, but seeing Rosie in multicolors in a 3-pack is a good place to start. And in the world of animation, these are actually not going to be at the pop-up shop. These are going to be at the con themselves. We've got a Happy Happy Joy Joy 2-pack of Ren and Stimpy. We've also got a Flocked Cat Dog. We've got a Baxter Stockman in the style of the 1980s Ninja Turtles cartoon, which I am so excited for. So these are all from Nickelodeon. We're also going to be getting 2 new South Park exclusives, Mintberry Crunch and Cartman as the Coon, which I know a lot of people's favorites in South Park. And also a Rick and Morty of Tinkles and Ghost in a Jar. I recently started watching Rick and Morty, so I actually know what episode that this character is from. So it is pretty cool to actually see this, and the Ghost in the Jar is really cool. I love the details on actually getting a little ghost to float in a jar. And we've got some new Star Wars ones, and I know a lot of people are excited for these. These look to be shared when they're officially out after the con begins, but we're going to be getting Bodhi from Rogue One, who I know a lot of people are excited for, as well as another Stormtrooper from Rogue One, and a oversized pop of Supreme Leader Snoke from The Force Awakens, and the details on his face look wonderful. But I think the one that everyone is going to be more excited for is the Princess Leia hologram and R2-D2 2-pack. Of course, that's from A New Hope, and that, without a doubt, is going to fly off the shelves. I'm having a feeling it is going to end up in retail, and I'm pretty certain it's going to be sold out after day 1. We've got some new Scott Pilgrim vs. the World pops, including one with him holding the flaming sword, which I'm actually interested in getting, as well as a Negascott, as well as a Roxy Richter. But the only thing I'm upset about is the fact that it looks like these are going to be limited pieces, so that probably means they're not going to be available in retail. But I am pretty happy to hear that Toys R Us actually announced a Scott Pilgrim exclusive. I'm not going to be featuring it in this video, because after the con, it will be featured at Toys R Us's everywhere. So I will finally get a Scott Pilgrim pop, because I have been dreading getting these because I've never really cared for them. But the one with him holding the sword, if I can get it, that would be great. But the one that's going to be offered from Toys R Us is a cool one too, and I would want to get that one too. So either way, there will be a Scott Pilgrim pop in my collection at some point in time. So I'm happy about that. Marvel, of course, is going to be featuring some new ones, including a Selfie Gwenpool, which I think a lot of people are excited for, and an interesting Tony Stark from Spider-Man Homecoming holding his Iron Man helmet, as well as a very interesting Red She-Hulk and a Captain America, and I believe it's one of his more recent costumes, but either way, those are pretty cool. Not really interested in those, but I know people would be. The DC ones that are being offered, they went all out as opposed to Marvel, and I'm very happy about that. The ones that really stick out for me is the Wonder Twins and Monkey Gleek 3-pack, because that's from the Super Friends. Not interested in getting that, but I'm still very impressed to see it. And I'm also really happy to see the 200th pop in the DC Heroes line, which is Bruce Wayne. I saw the details through Funko videos, and I think they did it beautifully, but not interested in that. The 2 that I am interested in this series is the Ares from Wonder Woman, because I knew that he was going to become a pop, and I wanted to add another member of Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery, and it looks like he will be shared with retail. But of course, as a Batman animated series fan, the Man-Bat. Love it. It looks like it just leaped out of the cartoon. Love the yellow eyes. Love the facial expression. Looks just like the actual animation. And I am so excited to hunt down Ares and Man-Bat and get them into my collection very soon. We've also got some exclusive from video games. We've got 2 exclusives from Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, as well as a oversized pop from Elder Scrolls Morrowind. And in the world of television, there were a lot that were offered. We've got everything from Clara from Doctor Who, a flocked Lorax. Now, I know that he is part of the book line, but there was a made-for-television film, so I think it counts to put him here, as well as a oversized Megazord from the original Power Rangers series, which I'm sure a lot of people are excited for. And even my favorite character from Stranger Things, Mr. Clark, is going to become a pop. But I'm not really interested in that one. But I think the one that stood out for me when it comes to the television series is the fact that they're bringing us The Tick. And I'm not going to get it. It's interesting because it's glow-in-the-dark. That's pretty cool. But I just wanted to talk about The Tick just so I could feature this.
Spoon! I don't get it.
Warner Brothers has given us their own exclusives. This is not part of the movies or the television series, people. This is Warner Brothers. We've got some really good-looking ones. There is a limited con exclusive in this set that is not going to be shared with retail, and that of course is the one from the 100, but it looks to me like all the other ones here are going to be shared, and thank goodness, because people would have probably killed somebody if they found out that these were not being shared. A Supernatural Impala with Dean is finally coming out, so I know so many people that were waiting for this pop ride. Also, I think a lot of people are going to be excited for the Lord of the Rings, Aragorn, and Arwen 2-pack, but I'm also pretty certain that these may be sold individually. And the rest of these, of course, are Harry Potter. I mean, you've got the Akame from Fantastic Beasts, which is oversized, and it looks beautiful. I love the colors, but I know for a fact that people are going to want to get their hands on the Luna Lovegood and the Harry Potter riding his broomstick, catching the snitch in his Quidditch robes. I've already got my Harry Potter in Quidditch robes, but I will not deny the fact that that Harry Potter pop looks wonderful, and if I actually was able to go to a store where it was being sold, I would love to at least bask in its glory. You gotta have HBO, and it looks like we're going to be getting 2 new exclusives from the Westworld line, as well as the mountain from Game of Thrones, and this of course is the mountain in the last season. We all know what happened to the mountain, and that's pretty much what we're going to be getting from HBO. And to top it all off, I think this was the one grouping that made me so happy, and that of course is the Disney line. We've got some amazing exclusives, including the 300th Disney Pop in Negatron. I have no idea what that is, except for the fact that I know it's from the Darkwing Duck line, but there is going to be a glow-in-the-dark Jolly Roger, which is a theme park exclusive, and he is going to be very limited, so not sold in retail. I think true Disney fans are going to be very upset with the fact that Mr. Toad is a limited batch and will only be available at the con, and if you don't know who he is, he's from The Wind in the Willows, which is part of the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, which is one of the earliest Disney classics, and of course everybody knows Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We've also got Hey Hey from Moana, which looks beautiful, I love the colors, but the 2 that I am interested in is the fact that they're giving us a 2-pack of Chip and Dale, and an amazing stylized Tigger with him balancing on his tail, which this one looks just like Tigger, and they're both flocked, which makes me very happy. I was not interested in getting the Tigger on my own, but when I showed this to my wife said, "That's amazing, we need Tigger," and I think he will go very well with our flocked Winnie the Pooh. All I can say is that Funko did an amazing job this year, and I am really excited to see where all of these pops are going to be found, and hopefully I'll be able to get all the ones that I really want in my collection. And it just makes me even more excited to know exactly how many pops are going to be featured at the next big con, which is New York Comic Con. Thank you so much for joining me till the very end, everybody. I'm really hoping that you all enjoyed all of this awesome stuff. I'm hoping that you guys are also enjoying the Summer of Batman, because we still have 1 month to go, and there is some awesome Batman stuff that I am going to be discussing next month, too. So, it's been fun so far, and I'm just excited to continue on with the fun. But for now, put your comments in the box below. Let's discuss anything Funko that you want, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.